I'm Andrew Drane, Principal of Ray White 7 Hills, with more mixed news on the property market. It seems that for now, Australia's housing values have hit their lowest point and are trending ever so slightly upwards again. For the second month in a row, CoreLogic's Home Value Index has posted an increase, this time by 0.5% in April. The four major cities all recorded a rise, but Sydney actually did better than the national average despite a 13% drop from its peak, recording an increase of 1.3% and showing just how resilient it can be even in the most adverse circumstances. That's the third rise since February. All this despite the RBA's best efforts to combat their bogey inflation by rising interest rates. Speaking of which, interest rates have increased again in early May, and this is probably the beginning of another upsurge. I don't know why the media has reported the latest rise as a shock. We reported back in January that there would be several more upticks by August. It might not have been news people wanted to hear, but at least it was truthful. In fact, it was predictable, given the RBA's monetary policy to combat inflation. Nevertheless, housing values seem to have stabilised, and the upturn looks like continuing at this stage. What's more, auction clearance rates are still hanging on to be slightly above the long-term average, and that elusive spectre called sentiment means home sales are still trending around the 5-year average. At the moment, there remains a lack of housing supply. This has sustained housing values somewhat. The number of listed properties is well below the 5-year average and will probably trend lower coming into winter, as per usual. Many prospective vendors are holding off during this difficult period. However, this has also given a lot of leverage to those who are wanting to sell. It's simple supply and demand. A lot of people who cannot afford to find rental accommodation at the moment are now looking at purchasing almost as a default position. A lot of vendors might decide to sell during the winter period to beat the spring rush and extract more value from their sale. There are plenty of vendors out there just itching to test the market and see if it's to their advantage to put the property on the market. Demand might continue to increase as people expect interest rate hikes to further slow, although this might be a delusion. We'll see. It's all about timing, and many people are doing their best to stay well informed so their timing is right, which is why you're watching this update. Right now, I'm not saying this is a buyer's or a seller's market, as we live in unusual times and the market is a bit of a seesaw. But it seems important intangible sentiment is still buoyant, and that will enliven housing activity from both buyer and seller standpoints. Increased migration, something we're not hearing about very much in the media, is also impacting on demand, and again, as migrants put pressure on the rental sector, purchases are likely to increase. If you're thinking of getting out of the cities, regional New South Wales has recorded a slight drop in housing price for the time being, but showing signs of stabilising again. This might be a good time to pick up a bargain if it's a tree or a sea change you're looking for. To sum up, we're still looking at difficult, for some brutal times ahead. There might still be a sudden surge in mortgage defaults as homeowners struggle to keep up payments that have increased in some cases by tens of thousands of dollars annually. My advice to you right now, if you're looking to sit tight, is to seek a more competitive rate with your current lender or switch loans and give yourself plenty of time before your fixed rate expires. Until June, when you tune in again, stay sharp, stay watchful, and we'll look forward to updating you, hopefully with some better news. I'm Andrew Drane, Principal of Ray White 7 Hills. I'll see you then.